Hello, scrapbookers and crafters. This is Michele Sizemore. I'm an advisor with Creative Memories. Today you'll learn how to make these two cute borders. Basically, it's the same technique, just added a little bit of color change in there, using the Creative Memories Chasing the Sun collection and Creative Memories cardstock. And I also use the Decorative Waves border maker cartridge and the Diamond Chevron border maker cartridge and the border maker system and the 12-inch trimmer. Okay, let's get this started. First thing I want to do is cut my row of diamond chevrons. I'm going to grab my border maker system, place this cardstock in here. I think this color is called Razzleberry, but you could almost use any color of like bright fuchsia, hot pink. It would go. Any color that would match this strip right here of paper. And I'm going to put my cartridge in here, diamond chevron, that way so that the little metal notches are sticking out. I'm going to put the cardstock in here and make sure everything matches. There's two notches that match right there. And that means that everything's matched up underneath. So I'm going to punch, and you pull it out gently and plop it back into place and punch it. And now I have my row of diamond chevrons. And I would save these scraps because I've already looked at them and I think of an idea that I could do with them. So I'm going to save those for later. I even save these because I have different things I do with these little skinny strips. I'll show you that on some other videos. Okay, so I have my strip of diamond chevrons. Now I'm going to cut my white cardstock with the border maker system, and I'm going to use the Decorative Waves border maker cartridge. That's a fairly new one for 2026 in the summer. Put that in there, and then I'm going to put my white paper. Oh, first of all, before I do this, I need to cut this paper down to 2 inches with my trimmer. I'm going to do that. Line it up at the 2-inch mark. Follow the line all the way down and make sure it's straight at the top. Save that for another project. Okay, so now I'm going to place this in here. Now you're going to see that there's barely anything for this to latch onto, so I'm afraid it's not going to stay in place. So I'm going to add some Post-it notes. This is like a little trick you can do when your cardstock is a little bit too skinny to use with the border maker system. So I'm putting the sticky part all along the edge of the piece of cardstock. And I'm going to put the piece of cardstock in here, line it up with the edge of the paper tray holder, and close it. And basically what the cardstock did, what the Post-it notes did, was it just made it like a pretend way to extend the cardstock as if it were bigger, so that this magnetic arm has something to latch onto so it won't move on me. Okay, so now I'm going to use this very similar to the way I used the other one I just showed you. Same idea. Okay, save those scraps for another project. Now, with this, I need this design on both sides. So I'm going to flip my Post-it notes and put along the decorative edge this time so that I can cut the other side. Okay, and now I'm going to put the other side in with the straight edge all along the edge, not all along, up to the edges of the paper tray holder, and then close it. And you can see the arm is attached to the Post-it notes because the paper or the cardstock is too skinny. So now I'm going to cut this side of this. I slipped just a little bit. I let it move. It's important not to let it slide, but I'm just going to clean that up with some scissors. Take these off, grab my scissors, And I need to clean up this little edge right here and make it look like it was never messed up. Just kind of try to go along the design and curve it. Okay, so now I'm going to mount my diamond chevrons on top of this piece of white. Let's get my silicone mat, and you'll be able to see it better. So I'm going to put lots of repositionable tape runner on the back of this because it has all these little intricate holes. And I would only use repositionable tape runner on these because it comes out in little clear dots, and I'm going to be very generous with it, so it'll be almost like a sticker on the back. So it comes out in little clear dots, and I'm using it on this mat. A silicone mat will repel your repositionable tape runner, and then the excess will go back up in here, so it makes you not have messes. That's why I like using it on a silicone mat. At the time of this video, I can't get this silicone mat anymore from Creative Memories, but you could use any kind of silicone mat. Like I think you could probably find one at any scrapbook store or maybe even kitchen stores. There are a lot of silicone things that people use in the kitchen. And I'm just seeing some other areas where I need to clean this up a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to put the sticky side down. And just try to go all the way down in the middle of that. And I really like that look. I think I need to pull it up just a little bit and come over to the left. I think I just started tilting it a little bit. So up here needs to go. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so there is that. Now I am going to take this yellow cardstock. I thought I already had some. Here we go. They're already cut. I have already cut these just like I did this, but I only cut one side, and then I cut the other side with my trimmer to about 3/4 of an inch. And I did that because I'm going to put these behind here. Now, I want to show you two options. You could put this behind, the yellow behind the white, and make the scallops literally just kind of match each other, but just bring it down. Or you could make it so that it's sort of like this, where your yellow scallops kind of come up where the white ones dip. I want to do that. So I'm going to extend this to make it a little bit longer so that I can do that. So I'm going to add some tape runner there. I kind of like that look. I think it's kind of fun. And on this, it really only matters that I match the top up. The bottom, it's okay if it's not exactly the same size. I'm going to just kind of try to match the curves. And I'm going to cut that off a little bit. So I just sort of made this longer because since I'm moving it over so the dips go in the middle of the white scallops, it needs to be longer. So I'm going to add some repositionable tape runner here on one edge of the white. I'm going to place this so it's just along a line so that it's straight. It doesn't matter which one. Just I don't have to do that, but it helps me. And then I'm going to come down here and do this so that the top of the white sort of meets the bottom of the yellow. And it just gives it kind of a different, more fun look. Okay? And then I'm going to cut this off at the end. And then I'm going to put this over here to make this longer. And we'll see if that'll be long enough to make this work. If it's not, I'll have to punch another yellow strip. But I think it might be okay. Depends on how it all matches up. I just want to put it together so you can't even see where they meet. You kind of can, so I need to fix that a little. Tilt it a little. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's not going to be long enough. Let's just do another strip of this yellow. with the border maker system. And if I was exactly positioning my yellow and white scallops in the same exact direction, I wouldn't have to do this. But because I'm moving them, this doesn't really work well on the mat, so I'm going to take that off. Because I'm moving the yellow so that it kind of doesn't go in the same flow as the white, it needs to be longer. And boy, I really made a mess of that. Let's just do it again, okay? That is what happens when you get a little crazy and you don't hold it still. Okay, so I'm going to be very careful this time and hold it down really firm with my left hand. And focus on each punch and not move too fast. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to take my 12-inch trimmer and cut it to just about 3/4 of an inch. It doesn't have to be exact, but it should be at least about 3/4 of an inch, so there's room to add tape runner so it'll stick up under the other one. And I'm going to do the same with this one, even though it's messed up, because I'm only going to use part of it to extend it to make it a little longer. Okay. So let's make this a little bit longer. Like that. I'm just going to add a little tape runner here. Repositionable. I always use that when crafting because it allows me to be able to move things around until I get it like I like it. So there we go. I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to cut off some and then I can make it perfect in a minute. Okay, so I know that's long enough. And again, it doesn't matter that it's not the same on the bottom because that's going to be tucked up underneath. So grab my silicone mat, lay this out so it follows along a line. Put some repositionable tape runner on the back of this side now. And then position it so the same way as I did the one on the top so that the scallops come up, the yellow scallops come up where the white scallops dip down. And it's just more of kind of a fun, flowy look, I think. Now I'm going to just take my scissors and cut the yellow to where it matches up with the white. I think I need to cut it just a little bit more. I still see a little strip of white at the end and I don't want to. I want that pink to come up to the end. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, now that part is done. Now I'm going to cut this to 2 3/4 inches. I've already measured it and I just wrote that Post-it note down so I wouldn't forget how wide. 2 3/4 and follow the grid line all the way down. Make sure it's straight at the top. There we go. And then I need to cut a piece of Island Waters to 2 1/4 inches. Was out of scraps of that, so I had to use a whole piece. I always use my scraps first. So 2 1/4 inches is right there on that line. Follow the line all the way down. It's straight at the top, and we're going to cut. So this should fit together just right based on my prior measurements. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to put some tape runner on the back here. Repositionable, and I'm going to mount this in the middle. Now that is a little bit, oh, you know what, when I did it this way, the right measurement was 2 1/4 because this yellow actually comes out wider. So on this one, I did it so that the scallops kind of match. And this one I did it so it goes in the dips. And I wasn't thinking about the fact that my green should be a little bit shorter. So I'm going to try cutting off 1/4 of an inch. And that would make it 2 inches. We'll see how that works. Sorry about that. But, you know, learn from it. Yeah, that's perfect. So cut it 2 inches instead of 2 1/4. And, I mean, 2 1/4 was fine if it would just be a wider border, which is still cute. It just wasn't the look I was going for at the time. Okay. And I see a little area right here that I'm just going to take my fingernail. Sometimes I don't need to do scissors. I can just sort of, yeah, there we go. It was a little bit of a shaggy edge. Now I'm going to mount this on here, and that is going to be my fun border. I'm going to put some repositionable tape runner on the back of this and mount it here. Let me cut this down so my edges are the same, and this side too. It's just, I didn't do the best job positioning it, so I see a little green sticking out there, which I don't love. And then I'm going to lay this here, center it up, and do that, and then just cut this little edge to make it completely even. Now, also because I did this different, the stripe is a little wider as well. So let's try cutting that down a little. I mean, which is fine the way it is. It is absolutely fine the way it is. So let's try cutting 1/4 inch off of this. And I think it's going to look the way I want it to. I think it's going to be, yeah, that's the look I was going for. I'm going to let a little more tape runner on here. All right. Now, I am happy as I could be with that. I think it's as cute as it could be. Love the fun colors. Sorry, I'm going to center that up. Yeah, and then this could be used on the top or the side or the bottom of these papers. This is a purple paper from the Chasing the Sun collection. So I could mount that there at the top or the side or the bottom. Or this paper is from the Making a Splash collection. It might be Make a Splash, but I think it's Making a Splash. If I was going to use, I think this one would be cute on that. So I'm mixing and mixing and matching the Chasing the Sun collection and the Making a Splash collection because I love this sunshine paper. So that you could just decide what color you want to put it on. But if I were to do this, I would probably map my photos, whether I used either one of these colors. I would map my photos with white cardstock to make it pop off the colored background, I think. And I love that. And so let's just look at these. Oh boy, let's see. I just put this together, so I didn't press it down super hard to make it stick. There we go. So let's look at both of these. So these are both where I put the yellow so it goes up where the white dips down. And this one is more like even. The scallops are even. So you can do it however you like, but just know if you do it where they dip down, you would need to do what I did and adjust the size of your other papers a little bit. Hope y'all enjoyed that. I think it's a super fun border, and I really love this Border Maker cartridge, and this Chasing the Sun collection is one of my favorites. I love the fun, bright colors. I mean, they can be used for summer, birthday. I even look at it and I think Fiesta a little bit. All kinds of things. It's just so fun. All right, you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching my video.